Record. All right, so welcome to your Thursday, October the 15th, your time to shine Zoom training call. Thanks for hopping on with me with tonight. It's kind of interesting. So as we talked about, all the leaders kind of talked about picking a topic that we were all going to, talk about, during these couple of weeks for your time to shine. And we had to pick a strength. And I was like, I don't know what my strength is. So what I realized, though, is that I think I'm a good read of personality, and I think I'm a good read of how to work with people. So that was kind of where my topic kind of grew out of, okay? So I made, really long notes, but I don't even know if I'm going to look at them. I might glance at them, but I think I'm better talking off the cuff with you guys. So I put those 3 personality tests into the Your Time to Shine page, and I hope that some of you took the time to at least do at least one of those tests or 2 of those tests, and maybe even did all 3. They shouldn't really take you that long, but it's just kind of interesting to see. And I think most of you guys have been around long enough that you did probably at least 2 of those tests in your Coach Basics way back when. And I don't know if you remember what you scored way back when you first did it for the first time, and then what you did at this time. But I think that probably when you did it when you first started, and then you started reading your personal development, and you started reading all of these leadership books, and you started reading all this stuff and learning all these things, I bet you if you went back and took the test again, you might have a slightly different read of it, right? So even as you took your test this time around, and you read the explanation, and you read the detail about that personality trait that you particularly have, some of it was probably spot on, and some of it was kind of close, and some of it was like, that's way freaking off, right? I mean, some of it doesn't even apply. So I remember the first time I took the 4 temperaments test, right? And that was, choleric, phlegmatic, melancholic, that one, right? And I took it for the first time, and I came out as phlegmatic. And this was like my very first Coach Basics. And I remember Shane saying to me, that can't be right, do it again. Well, okay, I guess I have a wrong personality. All right, let me do it again. So I got a choleric the next time that I did it, right? So I was like, okay, I guess I'm choleric. And then I read it, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, some of that applies to me. But some of that other phlegmatic stuff really applies to me too, which I find kind of interesting because they're really polar opposites there. And then she had us do another test not too long ago. And it's the one that asks you, and maybe it's the color code one, that asks you, when you were a child, how did you respond to this situation? And I was like, I don't know. I don't remember all of that stuff from when I was a child. You know what I mean? And then there's another test where you had 4 options, and it was all D words. And all the D words are totally unrelated to one another. And you're like, okay, that makes absolutely no sense at all. So I think that while it's interesting, to say the least, to take some of these tests to kind of see where you shake out, because I think it is a good indication of your natural tendencies, but I don't think that it necessarily puts you in line with what you are, okay? So I don't want you to take the test and say, oh, well, that's me, so I guess that's how I operate, and I guess that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want you to think that way at all, okay? But I think that it's, like I said, it's just kind of an interesting mark and an interesting gauge for you guys to kind of see where you guys shake out. And as you guys grow as leaders and as you have your coaches do these personality tests, I want you to go back and I want you to ask them to share those results with you, okay? Because not only is that good for them to see kind of, oh, okay, what their natural tendencies are, but it's good for you as their leader to see what their natural tendencies are, okay? Now, this is kind of where I go off the cuff, because this is really what I really want to address with you guys and what I really want to impart with you. As leaders, and if I say you, I don't mean you specifically. I mean you as a leader. I mean all of us. I mean we as leaders, right? Because that's what we all are on this Your Time to Shine. We're all developing into leaders because we have these teams, okay? Now, granted, many of us have a lot of discount buyers under us, and we might not have those builders under us yet, but that's okay. We're going to get there. So this is your chance to kind of practice, okay? So as you ask your coaches to do these personality tests, and I think it's a good thing for you to do, I don't think that we ask them to do this in Coach Basics anymore. Do we, Michelle? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. But I think it's kind of a good thing for us to maybe throw in as like a bonus post to take one of these tests just to kind of see. But as a leader, right, you're not just asking them to do it for them to see it, for them to, just kind of see what their natural tendencies are. The point is for you to be able to see what their natural tendencies are, okay? Because what that's going to do is that's going to tell you how they operate and how they think, okay? So it gives you a little bit of insight there into that particular person, okay? But here's really kind of where I'm going with this. As a leader, okay, as a true leader here, what we all need to start doing is kind of mirroring more of those personalities that we see, okay? It's kind of digesting and looking at and understanding the person that we're talking to. So like I said earlier in this conversation, the first time that I took it and Shane said, no, that's a wrong answer, do it again. And I got the answers that I think Shane wanted me to have. And then there was another time where she asked me to do it and I did it again and I was like, oh, well, it kind of depends on my mood. So depending on my mood, I can answer that question differently, okay? So I tend to see myself as more of a chameleon. And I think that that's why this topic became my strength and how I wanted to address it with you guys. I tend to waver my personality based on the person that I'm speaking with. Okay, so if I'm talking to somebody who's an introvert, who's a little bit shy, a little bit reserved, I'm not going to come at them with a let's go, tough love, kick its ass, let's roll kind of mentality, right? Because what's that going to do? That's going to shut them down. Whoa, that's a little bit too much for me. That's not really where I'm coming from. So there's not going to be that connection there. So if I'm talking to that introvert, to that reserved personality, that person who's a little bit more subdued, maybe who doesn't like to make eye contact, I kind of need to mirror that personality to give them a comfort level in continuing the conversation, right? So there's more of a connection there, right? So do you find that sometimes when you talk to people, there's a little bit of a clash, right? It's like, you know what, like I really want to get along with that person, but for some reason I just can't. Probably because you're probably trying to take a more dominant personality and you're trying to control the conversation a little bit versus, okay, let me just sit back, let me listen, let me see where this person's coming from, let me see kind of where they're going with it, and let me kind of take it with them rather than trying to control it and rather trying to let your dominant personality come out. So when I say to mirror them, I literally mean to mirror them, okay? So when I say that I'm a chameleon, so if I have a conversation with Shane, my conversation with Shane is going to be more, okay, let's go, come on, we got to run, we got to run, we got to run. Whereas Maria, if I had a conversation with you, it might be a little bit more tough love, but it's definitely much more subdued because I understand your personality, right? You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of kind of understanding who you're working with and who you're talking to, okay? Especially as a leader and as you're trying to encourage your coaches, right? So a lot of times we talk about, I just can't get my coaches to work the business. And maybe it's your personality that you're trying to drive with them, right? So we always say, you know what, if it's your business, it's your pace. If you want to walk, I'm going to walk with you. If you want to run, I'm going to run with you. So depending on their personality and depending on how they're going to do it, that's how you're going to work with them. Does that kind of make sense a little bit? As a leader, I think it's really important for us to be fluid and to be flexible. And that comes with time. I mean, that's not something that somebody just learns off the bat to say, okay, well, this person's phlegmatic, this person's choleric, this is a red, this is a blue, this is a white, this is a yellow, whatever it is, right? It's not to say that you're going to exactly mirror those personalities because we can't, right? I mean, you can't match it perfectly. But what I'm saying is that you need to be flexible and you need to be fluid in order to help them grow. And that helps you to grow as a leader too. Right? So you need to be able to match all those different personalities on your team. Now let's just think about it from a challenger's perspective, okay? We all have different personalities that we post with on Facebook, right? You have your own style, let's say. Michelle, like you go at it with your posts, you're like, it's 4 a.m., let's go, let's kick it in the ass, let's go. But if you have that person who's watching her who doesn't have that personality, who doesn't need that kick in the ass, they're probably not going to relate to Michelle specifically, right? But they're friends with 5 other different coaches, and they're watching 5 other different coaches' post. And we always talk about that connection, right? That sometimes it's just not right, right? That person's going to connect with a different coach versus you. Even though you've invited them to a challenge group, you've tried to be nice to them, they're watching your style. But that person might not connect with you, right? Because what you're doing on social media is we're just putting ourselves out there. We're not mirroring that person that's watching us, okay? So if you have somebody that you're talking to and they say, you know what, but it doesn't work, you know what I mean? If it doesn't jive, that's okay. They're going to connect with somebody else, right? So, and as a challenger, we can't really ask them to take a personality test to see where they're coming from, which is why we always say, ask a lot of questions. Ask your questions and see how they respond, right? And another thing why we always try and get our challengers on the phone, because it's easy to communicate via Facebook chat or Facebook Messenger, but it's hard to really kind of understand where they're coming from, right? I mean, they can kind of give you all these surface answers on Facebook, but we really need to kind of dive into all of that. So when we get them on the phone, or if you can meet with them one-on-one and face-to-face, that gives you more of a chance to kind of hear where they're coming from, to hear the responses, and to see what it feels like for them as they talk to you. Now it's easier for you to mirror that personality and kind of work with them a little bit more closely, okay? So I really want you guys to kind of think about being a little bit more flexible and fluid. Now, like I said, that comes with time, all right? I mean, we've got some, you know, the reason why we're all in this group is because we all have these really strong personalities and we're going for diamond, right? You guys are all pushing for diamond. Some of us are pushing 2-star premier, 5-star elite, we're all pushing. So we tend to have dominant personalities, but as a leader, we need to learn to work with everybody else that we're working with on our teams or on as our challengers, okay? So I kind of want you to think about that as you have these conversations with people, okay? I want to kind of open it up and talk a little bit about that. I want to get some feedback from you guys to see what you guys are thinking, how you're feeling. Is that difficult for you? And I'm going to challenge you guys this week to talk to some of those coaches on your team or some of your challengers even where you don't have that connection. And I'm going to challenge you guys this week to be fluid and be flexible. Have a conversation with that person that you're not quite connecting with and try and have that mirrored image with them. Try and have that mirrored personality. Yes, I'm recording, Shane. I was going to try and finish up like 5 minutes before 9 and disconnect and then let you hop in and host the Keith call, if that works for you. Or I can keep it going and I can do it. It doesn't matter.
And I don't care either way. I just don't know if you stop recording, does it shut everybody off to start recording again?
Yeah, so I can just let it run then. I'll just let it run.
I didn't want to have an hour and a half recording.
Okay, so I'll shut it off then, and then everybody's got to disconnect, and we just have to reconnect.
All right, you know what? Can I record if I'm not the host?
I don't think so.
Oh, then I got to go in as the host. Okay, so
Yeah.
at 5 of, okay.
Yeah, I'll finish up before that. Okay. I'll finish up before that, so then everybody can get off, and yep, you can hop back in. Okay, sorry everybody. Okay, so my challenge for you guys this week, right, is to have a conversation, and I think, quite honestly, I think it's easier to have your phone calls, or even if you have a one-on-one call with one of your coaches, get them on Zoom, right? Because at least you can see the expressions on their faces too versus being on the phone, okay? I'm going to challenge you guys to have those conversations. Like, so with that one person that you're not quite connecting with, okay? Like you've got a relationship and you're working and you're both working towards that one common goal, but the relationship isn't there. It's not where you want it to be, okay? So I'm going to challenge you to have a conversation with that person, and I want you to challenge yourself to be a little bit more flexible and more fluid, to ask more questions, to see where they're coming from, and to try and mirror that personality, okay? So one of the things that I do with my coaches on my team, and you know what? I've developed really strong relationships with the coaches on my team. And I know that the coaches on my team all have different personalities. I mean, they're all distinctly different personalities, but they are extremely loyal and they're extremely committed to the cause that we have. And they're extremely committed to the business. And that's because I've developed that relationship and because I can work with that personality, right? And it's not necessarily my personality, it's their personality. So I've developed those strong relationships there. So that's my challenge for you guys this week, okay? Now I'm going to open it up to you guys to ask some questions and to maybe talk about that little bit of an uncomfortable coaching situation that you guys might have. So let's kind of talk about it a little bit. Anyone? Anyone? Please. Come on. Don't you hate when that happens, Shane? Nobody has a question.
That's why I call on people. It's hard when you're on a Zoom and you just see faces. You're like, okay, Monique, talk to me, baby. Come on, because I know, and I'm not calling anyone out, but you know, I think, Monique, you've grown so much and learned so much about personalities and how to say things depending on who you're talking to, and I'm sure you have an example of one where you're like, whoops, like that wasn't the right personality. I'm kind of doing that with them.
I think those coaches are gone because I don't think I did connect with them well enough because I was so new. I mean, it's different now. I have a very strong personality, but I have learned to definitely tone that back and adapt to it. Denise, my new builder that's, you know, in coaching now, she's very timid and shy, and you know, I'm able to work with her much differently because I recognize that in her, whereas before I was just kind of go. So they told me they wanted to go, and I just kept kind of pushing that way instead of really taking it back.
Right. And that's a great example. So timid, and so it's a polar opposite of your personality. So you as the leader, right, because we can't expect her to change her personality to be like yours. As the leader, we have to take that role and be, again, flexible and fluid to say, okay, you know what, she's timid and shy, so I can't push too hard. I can't call her out. I need to be right there next to her, just kind of almost holding her hand and being probably a little bit more soft-spoken with her. And she probably responds much better to that. So anybody else? And that's excellent, Monique. That's great. And like I said, it comes with time, without a doubt. Do
you see why, because of that, we do the color code? Because you don't know what their personality is. That's why if you just said, hey, I got this really fast little test, well, not fast, test, have your coaches take it.
Right. And don't do it just for them to kind of see what they are. You guys need to kind of look at those test results and to see where they're shaking out and to see where their strong points are or their weaknesses are. So it's kind of playing into those natural tendencies that they have in their strengths, and then not calling out those weaknesses, though, but working on those weaknesses. Anybody else want to chat about personalities at all? Anyone?
Oh, I'll say something.
I knew you would. Always. I can't have a call without Maria talking.
No, seriously though, I've had it. I think it's so funny that you're talking about this because I've recently experienced it where someone comes at you the wrong way and I want to shut down. So I have felt that way. You just shut down and not want to deal with that person, and you know, and then I have this other person who gets me or whatever, and that's who I'm going to go to. And that's what I'm going to gravitate towards. So I think I know how it feels when someone doesn't approach you the right way. And it doesn't make for a good relationship. That's
absolutely for sure. Right. Which is why we always say that it's so important with your forming. Shane, you say it all the time, slow down with your forming, right? Because when you're rushing that forming, especially if it's the 29th, the 30th, the 31st of the month, and you're at SC4, right? So now you kind of speed up that forming process. But guaranteed that customer doesn't stay on for very long, right? Versus if you took time with that customer and you develop that relationship and you slow down with that forming and you kind of match that personality a little bit more, you built more of a bond, you built that stronger relationship, guaranteed that customer stays on significantly longer. Okay, I'm just going to let this run then, because we've got a gazillion people on, so I'm just going to let it go. So if nobody else has any questions relative to that personality, your time to shine thing. No, we're good. Thanks for joining me for that, guys. I appreciate that. I hope it was a little bit insightful for you.
And now we have a 5-minute intermission. As we wait for our 9 o'clock team call. So guys, for you that were jumping on like, oh no, I'm on the wrong call or I'm late, Tina was heading a call for a group of coaches. We're doing a push to diamond. We're calling It's Your Time to Shine. And it's coaches that are pushing really hard to hit diamond rank by November. And every week, a leader on the team takes the lead and leads a 30-minute Zoom call on various topics. And so that's what you just jumped in on, was Tina talking about personalities and how to talk to different customers and coaches differently, that not everyone responds the same way. I'm sure you guys have all had a situation where an interaction didn't go well. I've had 45 billion in my life before I knew I should learn people's personalities, and I still mess it up. I just messed it up the other day, and I was like, whoa, that didn't sound good. But that was my fault for not knowing enough, not forming enough, not knowing someone's goals and pushing. And so I continue to bite my tongue and try to stop putting my foot in my mouth all the time. And it reminds me how important this is. Personality is another book too.
It's out. It's going to be outside on the 10th, and we're allowed to read.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. You know, would you just go in and do a straight mute and then unmute me? Personality Plus is one, and then the color code. I'm going to be honest, guys. My comfort is in Personality Plus. Someone just posted it in Wild Impact, I think Susie. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing test. Go to personalityplus.com. That's how I was brought on. That's how coaches that have been around a long time were brought on under Bob Lucido. The company uses the color code. So Tiami and I were talking. We're trying to gravitate more towards that because that's what the company teaches. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's very helpful, and I use it, and I like it. It's just not what I was taught. So I'm trying to gravitate to that, but there's another option. There's Personality Plus. Anything, there's other coaches that use a gem chart. Are you a ruby? Are you an emerald? Are you a pearl? It's all the way you talk to a red or a ruby or a Polaris is not the same that you talk to someone who's a yellow or, you know, that sort of thing. So if you're like, what are you all talking about? Do the color code. We can even post the link in Wild Impact if you guys want. It's in Coach Basics, I think, or was for a long time. And I'm assuming many of you have taken the test before, but if you haven't, it's really important that you do. That when your coaches come on, you ask them to take it. So you know, are they a red? Are they a blue? Are they a white? Because a red I can talk to very differently than, like Tina was saying. Red's my comfort level. I struggle with some of the other ones. I'm a blue, actually. Most people are like, really? You are? But I actually am. I don't know why. I just have some red there too. But it's really helpful as you build a big team and you have a conversation with someone, you start struggling. It's because their personality, you're not in line with it. And that's okay, but you have to learn how to talk to them so it's effective. And if Keith Callahan is on, please just let me know. Keith, it's 8:57, so he may not be, but if anyone sees him on. So I just wanted to say that so that, because I'm sure you guys heard the end of that call and we're like, wow, what are they talking about? That's what we're talking about, is Personality Plus and the color code. So we're going to just give it about 4 minutes. We got 50 on. If you don't see your downline, I want you to grab your phone and send a very friendly message saying, get your, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I might be more red in the last year or so. I wasn't blue. When I signed as a coach, I was blue. Now I'm red.
There is no way you're blue.
I even took it again because Carver said, you're red. I'm like, no, I'm a blue. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, well, then you have red. But when I take the Personality Plus, I am a straight choleric.
But red and choleric are the same.
Right. That's my problem. But I've taken the color code 3 times. Every time it says blue.
And how much is your red? There's no way you're blue.
I don't think I took that. I must not have gotten all the different levels.
Because it gives you a pie chart, that one that I posted in the Your Time to Shine page.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at mine.
I'll
I
take
was
it again.
like really red.
I'll take it again. But I swear.
I'm always fascinated what other people are, and I totally need to study that more. We've talked about that.
Yeah, I think we need to embrace it a little bit more. We were struggling with which one to pick, Personality
Yeah.
Plus or the color code, and I think we agreed, like, as much as I love Personality Plus and everyone should read it, we should use what the company is using, so we're all talking the same language. Forever I said clear, it's magnetic, and now everyone's red, blue, yellow.
What did Kim say? Is Kim saying that the company is definitely sticking with the color code? Yeah. Okay.
And that's what he likes, and he said, same thing, that's what he knows. That's what he was taught. That's just my comfort level. Just like Personality Plus is our comfort level. That's what we were taught by Bob.
Yep. And Keith is on the call.
He
The
just
man
did
is in the
another
room.
call. Are you all hoarse, Keith? Where are you? Let me find him. He just did another call.
Hi.
Hi.
No, I'm all fired up.
Oh, good. I thought you might be a little tired now.
I don't drink coffee at night, but I had a coffee like an hour ago, so I'm all fired up now.
Awesome, awesome. Why can I not find you? So we were just finishing up another call, so we're just transitioning. People are still coming on. We're at 62 people. I'm just going to give them, it's exactly 9 o'clock. Well, I'm just going to give 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to do really, really quick announcements, literally 1 minute, and we're going to jump right into our guest speaker because he's already been working for the last hour plus with other teams. Like I said, guys, if you don't see your coaches, send them a friendly reminder. Get on the call. Bye.
It's not talking to you already. They can't hear me.
Shane, you were just calling me on Facebook.
I did. I did just. Oh, I did? Oh, that was a mistake. I did. Keith missed a call from you. I don't know how that happened. I was trying to post in my feed. Let me shut my door. All right, we're going to get rolling. Okay. So, Tina, if you can do another quick mute and then just unmute Keith and I, and we'll get going. Guys, when you come on, just please mute yourselves. We're at 69 coaches. It's 9:01. Okay, and we're recording. So welcome everyone to your Thursday night team call. Excited to see so many on, and I know that number is going to be climbing. It's the 15th of October. Really quick, a couple of rank advancements. I want to shout out to a coach we missed the first time around, Sue Dwyer, hit Emerald in October. Congratulations, Sue. And a huge, huge rank advancement to the one and only Tina Callahan, 1-star diamond officially. So she stuck out that long 6 weeks and now is a 1-star diamond coach, official star diamond. So congratulations, Tina. Okay, so 2 things, guys. We're in the middle of our sneak peek, which means follow up. The magic is in the follow-up. Send messages, ask them what they think. Ask them if they have any questions. Get them on the phone this weekend. Or get them the webinar that's recorded in the file section of Wild Impact, okay? We have a live webinar on the 29th at 9 p.m., as long as that's a Thursday, the 29th. The last Thursday of the month is always our webinar, okay? Yeah, I think that's Thursday. Also, hammer and chisels coming out in December. So really quick, guys, we're all gonna do it. We're all going to get it, and we're all going to be in a challenge group. A coach. So I want you guys to think who would like to help co-lead it. I'm looking for to head it up, but everybody in it is going to be leading it. So in other words, you're going to be you're going to mute yourselves, guys. You're going to be in there. You're going to be cheering each other on. But what does that mean? We got to get our orders in on December 1st. I have a feeling the website's going to crash. So I want you to take your phone, get out your calendar, December 1st, order your hammer and chisel, and we're going to do a challenge group with pre-post starting December 7th. Wild Impact Challenge Group huge challenge group, December 7th. Everybody needs to commit to this program. You are going to fall in love with it. We have Super Saturday on Saturday. If you're not signed up yet, guys, find a Super Saturday. I cannot stress it enough. It is our 4th vital behavior, and we're going to be sampling hammer and chisel and kit. But no matter where you are, you're all over the country, there is a Super Saturday near you. Last but not least, hey guys, please see Tina, who that is, and try to mute them.
Kimberly Carter, please mute your line. Shelley Carter.
Okay, last but not least, and then we're going to start the 3-day refresh. We're going to do it as a group, November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So, if you're interested, let us know. We're all going to purchase it the last week in October, and we are going to do the refresh with the team November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So please write those 2 dates down, guys. That's an awesome way to try our products, right? You have to be using our products, not just technology. Okay, awesome. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. So Keith Callahan. So really quick, guys. I gotta get this coach muted. Someone help me, please. If you know who it's on, please have her muted. Anybody find who it is?
You want to just mute everyone again?
Can I read this phone? I'm gonna.
Everybody, and then we'll start over.
I don't know how to.
Kimberly Carter and Shelley Carter, please mute your line. Kimberly Carter and Shelley Carter, mute your line.
Yeah.
I don't know where they can't.
Tamara, you can manually mute them too, right?
I'm trying to, and my computer's not letting me do it.
I can't do it either.
Only you can because you're the host.
There's something up with their lines, like they just need to be able to be muted.
Can someone text her, please? Or please get in touch with her? I don't know who it is. Okay. All right, guys, really quick. Let's go. Let's get going. Keith is, pay attention to this, guys. Ready? He's a combined 11-star diamond coach. He has 22,000 coaches in his downline. I said 22,000 in case you think I didn't say that. He's a Success Club legend, a 3-time elite coach. He's in the Millionaires Club ×2. He has 15, this is key, 15 5 stars and above in his downline. 15 5-star and above in his downline. He's also the Business of Life podcast host, and of course a dad of 3 and a husband. And he is graciously offering his time to us to kind of share what he does best, which is just kind of pump you up and inspire you. So I'm really excited and honored, Keith, that you've taken another hour out of your night to just kind of chat with a bunch of coaches who are just excited and growing, and every once in a while need that push. So I'm going to be quiet now and take it away.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction, Shane. How are you guys doing? It's kind of really choppy, right?
Yes, it's a little choppy.
What do you guys want to do? Do you want to wait till it's fixed, or do you want me to start going?
I'd like you to go, Keith, and whoever is talking.
Tamara, you can't mute everyone again, right?
I can't. I'm not the administrator. It's Tina.
Yeah, but I can't. Everybody is muted on my side.
Mine too. So Kimberly Carter, if you can hear us, please mute your line. Bottom left-hand corner, select the mute.
She just got off the call, Tammy.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Wow, look at that. It's like the crazy plane just landed. All right, guys. So let's get right into this. You know, I just had a call earlier and did a call with Candace's team, and I'm going to do the exact same call. And prior to the call that I did with their team, I want to take a step back. If this is your first time like being on a call, or you just started with Beachbody like a week or two ago, I'm going to apologize in advance. your team will teach you about selling challenge packs and doing all that, but I'm awful at selling challenge packs. I'm awful at recruiting people. I'm awful at sharing the business opportunity. I'm awful at everything except for two things. I understand this business really well. Like, I understand the philosophy behind this business, and I know how to build big leaders. Like, I know how to develop leaders underneath me. So this call is going to be really about how to build a big business. And, you know, I was thinking about it prior to getting on, and when I was prepping for the calls, it was like, what ultimately, if there's an ultimate goal, we're on this crazy ride again, huh? You guys want me to keep going?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to keep going. Now it's echoing. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah, I think we're okay. Keep going. And if you're not muted, please mute yourselves. Thank you.
All right. So again, if you're not muted, mute yourself. And so let's go ahead and if there were three things that we could leave this call with, the first thing is that you actually believe that you can do it, that you can achieve success in this business at the highest level. And I know a lot of us, like, we see other people and we know that it's possible. But there's a reality, a lot of people, let me rephrase that, most people don't really believe that they can achieve the highest levels of success in this business. So putting out that big, hairy, audacious goal for this call for the next 50 minutes is that when we end, you actually believe that you can do it with every part of your being. The second thing is that you actually take the action and start doing it, right? Like, it's cool if you believe you can do it, but if you actually start taking the action and start doing. And then the third thing, I'll be honest, guys, my wife and I have been totally blessed by Beachbody. We live a pretty frugal life. We don't need the money anymore. We take the money. You're not going to turn it away. But what I really like about this is, and what I get excited about now is, if a year from now I get a message from you, not the other 95 people on the call, you, and you say, you know what? It was during that call that I made the decision and I actually did it, and now I've hit my goals. Like, that's what it's all about for me now. There's nothing, and Shane can tell you, and the other leaders on the team, it's awesome when you get on stage, but there's nothing like the feeling of your team being on stage. And that's what I love now. Like, I love having the opportunity to be able to influence someone else's life. So those are like pretty big goals, right? That you actually believe that you can do it. You go out and do it, and then a year from now you message me back that you did it. So in order to achieve those three goals, we have to answer three questions. And this is what this call is going to be about. The first question is, can I do it? The second question is, what exactly is it that I'm doing? And the third question is, how do I do it? Let's dive right in. So I want to answer the question, can I do it? And I want to start by sharing a story with you. It's a story of me growing up. So I grew up with a alcoholic father, the type of alcoholic where he would drink like 20 beers, and that's not like drinking. It's not until he drinks the hard liquor that he gets drunk. Full-blown alcoholic, but functioning alcoholic, like always held down a job, white collar, like alcoholic father, and a co-addict or enabling mother. Everybody understand what I mean when I say co-addict or enabling? Sort of makes sense, right? So the husband's needs, the father's not really there. He's not present because he's in alcohol all the time, and the mother is a supporter of the husband, so the husband's needs come before the kids, right? So you sort of get a picture of that. And like my whole side of my dad's family totally whacked. Like the stories, everybody's got their crazy family stories, right? My dad's side is really crazy. And so growing up, here's how I learned how to receive love. I was okay at sports, but I learned that if I was good, the better I was, the more recognition I got and the more love I got. Because the time that I got attention from my father was when I did good with sports. So I started to excel in football, in baseball. I tried excelling in basketball, but I was never really good in any of them. But like I wanted to excel so bad I got good. But basketball, I just never got good. I was really bad. So anyways, that's sort of like how I'm starting to grow up. Now, I lived on a dead-end road, and it was like raised ranches, right? So it's the raised ranch. You walk in the front door and steps go up or steps go down. And my aunt and uncle lived next door. And growing up, so my cousins all lived next door and they were the same age. So we were always like between houses. And growing up, and it's like crazy to even think about now, there was always at least like 10 cases of beer in each of the houses in the garage, like at all times. And then like a full liquor cabinet. So when I was in the 7th grade, I stole a 6-pack of beer from my dad's stash in the garage. And this was a school night, and I sat in my bedroom and I drank it by myself. And I liked it. That's when I started drinking. And then I started drinking a couple nights a week by myself in the 7th grade. By the time I got into my freshman year of high school, it was like Friday and Saturday nights going out to the parties and blacking out every night, like waking up in the morning, not remembering what happened the night before. My freshman year, I was good enough at football that I was able to make the varsity team. First day of practice, a half hour before the practice, I threw up because I was drunk. That's sort of how high school went. Every Friday night, every Saturday night. Even if we had a game the next day, Friday night, I would black out and not remember. Wake up the next morning and not remember. By the time we got to our senior year, I was probably worse in sports than I was my freshman year, because I'd started drinking a lot. About a week before our Thanksgiving Day football game, I sat in my parents' house in our basement, raised ranch, like a finished basement, and I had a glass just like this. It's like a perfect, I didn't even plan this. It's a perfect prop for tonight, though. So I had a glass, a 16-ounce glass, right? Filled it with ice, filled it with Zambuca, and drank it. I think I did that 1 or 2 more times. Again, woke up the next morning, didn't remember, went to school, sitting in English class, and the teacher called me aside and asked me if I was drinking, and I was like, no. And I didn't even realize that I was still so drunk from the night before. Got kicked out of school for 2 weeks, got kicked out of school, got kicked off the football team for our Thanksgiving Day football game. It was an embarrassing time in life. Then eventually went off to college, and it got worse and worse. 3, 4, 5 nights a week, waking up in the morning, not remembering what happened. Eventually, when I was 22 years old, senior in college, went with a group of friends down to Mardi Gras, group of guy friends, and got really bad alcohol poisoning, got sick for 3 straight days, had bile coming up for 3 straight days, couldn't eat. I thought I was going to die. Literally thought I was going to die. That was the last time I've ever been drunk like that. I'll still have a few glasses of wine here or there, or a few beers here and there, like 2 or 3. Scared me. Scared me because I knew that if I continued that way, I was going to become my father. And now if you can picture 22 years old, a man stops drinking, a 22-year-old man that started drinking at 12 years old, I now have the emotional body of a 12-year-old. I don't know how to love. I don't know how to receive love. I don't know how to give love. I don't know how to look somebody in the eye. I can't have a conversation with somebody. I can't sit there without constantly shaking. Panic attacks I started having all the time. Anxiety I started having all the time. Severe depression. It was rough. It was a 5-year period that was just, it was awful. And if you can imagine, I sort of skimmed through it, but there's a lot of bad stuff that happened during those 10 years. A lot of stuff I regret. A lot of stuff I can't take back. And I've moved through all that, but that 5 years after, it was hard. Finally, I found yoga. I went into a yoga class and I found the relief that I used to find in alcohol in a yoga class. I could breathe. Right? Eventually, and I got addicted to it. It was an awesome, awesome addiction. It became my community. It became my people, and it started a healing journey. 16 years ago, started that healing journey. Eventually found a therapist, Bob Lucido's wife, Shiva Lucido. That's actually how Bob and I met. So I did 2 years of intense therapy with his wife. Like not take this pill, you'll feel better, not sit on the couch and let's talk about your problems. It was like crying, grieving, like anger, like all that stuff, all that repressed stuff from 10 years of numbing myself out came up, right? Eventually I started to be able to love, started to be able to receive love, started to be able to give love, started to be able to love myself, started to be able to breathe, started to be able to talk to people, started to be able to drive in a car again because it was so bad I would have panic attacks driving in a car. Started to be able to communicate with people, to look people in the eye. Then I found a spiritual path that I dove deep into it's been 10 years now. And I share that story, I share those beginnings, because if you still have the question, can I do this? It doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter what your history is. It doesn't matter if you're going through something like that. It doesn't matter if you just hit rock bottom, if you're about to hit rock bottom, or you don't have anything that you're going to hit rock bottom with. Or maybe your story was even worse. Maybe your childhood was worse. Maybe you've got some other things going on in life. Here's the deal with this business. The hard part isn't Beachbody. Selling challenge packs, selling Shakeology, signing people up for or getting people to become coaches. That's not the hard part. The hard part is who you have to become to get to the level of success that you want in this business. So write this down. The question isn't, can I do it? The question is, am I willing to do what it takes? It's that simple. It really, really is that simple. Am I willing to do what it takes? Because whatever your go-to excuse is, and guys, I've heard them all. I know it all. Like, I get it. Like, there are some legit ones. Like, maybe you're in a coma and you can't build the business right now. Maybe, like, I don't know, you're whatever. Maybe I'll give you a month or whatever. But if you really want to do this, whatever your go-to excuse is, I have OCD, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm too old, like whatever your excuse is, has anybody in the history of the world ever had the same circumstances? One person, and overcome it. And if you can answer yes to that, your excuse is not valid. But we believe them, we hide in them, we find comfort in them, right? But if I can do it, if Shane can do it, if all these other leaders can do it, because you don't know what they've had to go through. You can do it. You can achieve the highest levels of success in this business, whatever that means to you. Again, the question is, are you willing to do what it takes? All right, so that's the can you do it part. What is it that we're doing? So again, I only know how to build this business one way, to build really big businesses and teach other people how to do that. So what is it that you're doing? I'm going to tell you what this business can offer you, what is available. Like, you just got handed the keys to the Ferrari. I'm going to sort of give you the outline of what is this thing and then how to drive it. And I want to start by taking the 3 vital behaviors. We all know the 3 vital behaviors, right? I'm going to make some changes to them. Take from it what you want. If you want to just throw out everything, then I'm going to say totally throw it out. I don't care. But I want to share with you what I think. I think that the 3 vital behaviors need a couple of minor tweaks. First of all, I think we need to flip it. I think the first thing needs to be personal development. And let me share, and people are like, oh God, personal development. Here we go again, right? I saw a post the other day, and somebody wrote that, we're in October now, that they're 3/4 of the way through to their goal. And their goal is 52 books this year. So a book a week, personal development, right? And I started thinking to myself, and I was like, they got it all wrong. Because if you read 52 books, what you've gained is some information up here. Personal development is not about learning things, it's about becoming things. Personal development, a human being, a person developing. I would rather you read one book and become what is in that book. So read it, study it, nurture it, become it, practice it. What do I think personal development? Personal development for me was getting a therapist. Personal development for me was finding a spiritual path, because if I didn't, you know what my biggest fear in life is? Becoming my father. I wanted to become something else, but I didn't have the skills to do it. Personal development is understanding where you are and understanding where you want to go, finding the tools, and then using the tools. You get it? Super important, because so many of us, we hear personal development, read 10 pages. That's cool. But why not become something rather than collecting information? Because here's the deal in this business. People can go buy the products, buy the program, and sign up for Beachbody anywhere. They don't need you. Why are they going to sign up with you? Because you are a person. You're a bright, shiny beacon of light, and they want to follow you. They know you're going somewhere, and they want to go with you. It's important because, listen, I don't want to fool you. Hard work does pay off in this business, but you have to become more if you want to get more. If you keep doing the same things that you're doing, you're going to keep getting the same things that you've gotten. Personal development, it's about getting the information that we need to go to the next place and then using that information. Does that make sense? All right, guys, so that's the first one, first vital behavior. So again, we flipped them. I like personal development in the beginning because I think that's 90% of this business. One other thing on that, you're never going to, I shouldn't say never. 99.9% of the time, you're not going to bring somebody in that's a higher level than you are. That's just sort of how it works in this business. Some people get super lucky, but for the most part, you're going to attract people that are up to your personal development level, or another way to look at it is your level of self-esteem. Like wherever you're capped, you're going to recruit a team that's there and below. So as you raise it, the type of people you can bring into this business raises. Does that make sense? All right, so the second thing, vital behavior, is product of the product, right? The only change, I think that, not change, but maybe definition, when you're building a business, you know, Shane just talked about the 3-day refresh, and she talked about hammer and chisel. You got to do it 100%, like not 99%. You have to do it 100%, not for the before and after, although it helps, not because you're going to look better, although it helps. It's because the way you feel when you did it 100%, you have a different level of respect. You have a different level of commitment. You're like, the way you just can't help not sharing the products or the programs, right? So that's all I'm going to say with that. Like, don't do it 3/4 of the way. Do it 100%, because the results go from like from a 10 to 1,000. Going from like 90% to 100% takes you from a 10 to 1,000. Like, it's that big. It's that drastic. The third piece, and this is, so we have two things that I believe are important in this business. There's the you, the person, the like the personal development piece. Like, that's 90% of this business. The other 10% is really like doing the work and understanding what you're doing. There's about 300 5-star diamonds and above in our business, and there's over 300,000 coaches. It's a lot different, right? That's basically saying for every 1,000 coaches, there's one 5-star diamond and above. I want to let you in on one important piece, and this is your business model. So the third principle is invite, 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 right? Here's the way I modify it. I think it's invite, 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 teach others how to invite, 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 and then teach others how to teach others. If you look at any one of those 5-star diamonds and above, they've all duplicated that process. Guaranteed, hands down, no questions asked. Because what a lot of us get stuck in is just inviting. We get good at inviting and sharing the products, and maybe even bringing in a coach or two. It's a lot easier to sell the products than it is to bring in a coach, like a real sponsoring coach, right? I would rather have literally one coach that's all in and running with this than 1,000 discount coaches. That's how important it is. So that's how I see the 3 vital behaviors. And we're still on this what am I doing part, right? So that's how you're doing the 3 vital behaviors: the personal development, the being a product of the product, the invite, 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 teach others how to invite, 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 and then teach others how to teach others. Does everybody understand that when I'm talking about that with the invite piece? All right, awesome. I got shaking heads on the first page. I won't scroll through all the pages. Guys, I love doing this. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. We got 20 minutes, 25 minutes left. I'm gonna give it my all for you guys. I just pray that you guys get this. It will change your life so much. What is it that you're doing? So check this out. Here's how this business works. We all came in having an experience with a product or a program, right? We felt good. And then we decided that we were going to become a coach because we want to do 2 things. We want to earn an income, let's be real here, and we want to help other people feel good like that, right? So we help some other people. And guys, here's where most people get stopped. Here's where there's 99 of us on this call. 90 of us get stopped here. We share the products with other people and we never do anything else. Here's how the model works. You have an experience with the products and the programs. You fall in love with it. You decide to start helping other people. You start sharing it with other people. You have a group of people that they have good results. And one or two of them, you actually talk to them about becoming a coach and they say yes. And they're going to run with the business, right? And you're all gung-ho. But then they don't do anything. So you keep going and you find another person and another person. And finally you find somebody that's going to do this business with you, right? And they actually start signing up some people. You know what you just did? You moved from just helping people directly to helping people indirectly, right? So when you signed up that other coach and they started signing up other people, now you're indirectly helping more people. And then eventually maybe they find somebody else and they sign up a coach and then they start signing up people. That's how this grows underneath you. This is a duplication business. It's not about finding 100 people and 100 new people every month. It's about finding, say, 10 new people, 5 new people every month, and then finding 1 or 2 who want to do it with you. And then duplicating that over and over and over. You have to understand that. You have to develop the skills to do that because of 2 reasons, 2 simple reasons. You can help way more people and you get paid way more. Simple. Yeah. That takes you from helping 10, 20, maybe 100 people to helping hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of people, but it's indirectly. Does everybody understand that when I'm talking about indirectly? I want to share what it's done for my life and what I believe this business can do for you. Again, not the other 98 people on the call, you. Had a shitty upbringing, right? Moved through it, continue to move through it. Had a lineage of father alcoholic, his father, grandfather. Like that's how the lineage goes, right? My kids aren't going to grow up that way. My kids aren't going to grow up with an alcoholic father. My kids are not going to grow up having a father that's not present. My kids are going to grow up with a mother and a father who love and support each other, who communicate with each other, who have the ability to give love, who have the ability to receive love, who have the ability to nurture.
So it gets back to 99, let me know. So it gets back.
Not only did my life change, not only do I have the ability to literally do what I want, when I want, with who I want. We can buy the cars we want. We can buy the house we want. We can go on the vacations we want. We can send the kids to the schools we want. The money's not what's going to make you happy. It's time. The biggest commodity we have in life is time. And when you build this business correctly, when you duplicate and you build a downline, you develop freedom of time eventually. And when you get that freedom of time, it allows you to literally change your life. My kids are going to grow up differently than I did. That is going to literally change a generation and change a lineage because they're going to grow up, they're going to raise their children differently. And then eventually they're going to their grandchildren are going to raise differently. So many of us don't understand it. That's what we're sitting on right now. That's the opportunity that you have with Beachbody right now. That's what's available. But you know what? We only paid $140 to sign up or $200 or whatever, right? So we don't take it serious enough. If we don't do the work today, no big deal. You know what happens? That turns into a year of, if we don't do the work today, no big deal. You got to fight for it in the beginning. You got to push. You got to go 100%. It's like rolling a snowball up a mountain, right? A big mountain, like a 12,000 foot mountain. You're rolling that thing up. You're rolling that thing up. You can't stop until you get to the top of the mountain. But I'll tell you what, you get to the top of the mountain, your life's never going to be the same. Your kids' life's never going to be the same. Generations down the line are never going to be the same. But we only paid $140, so we don't take it serious enough. What if you got a loan for $500,000? What if in order to become a Beachbody coach, you had to take a loan out for $500,000? Would you treat it differently than you currently treat it? I used to play that trick on myself when I first started building this business. When I first started, every day I would ask myself, if it was all on the line, if it doesn't work out, the house goes, the car goes, like everything goes. As a husband, I'm a prideful man. I wanted to support my family. Again, just telling my story here. If I had $500,000 loan on the line and I had taken our family's savings to make this happen, how serious would I treat this? We all have the ability to have that. I've literally mentored hundreds of coaches that have that legacy that's changed. All from a workout DVD and a shake. It's crazy to think about it. Don't minimize it. How do I do it, right? So we finished the what is it that I'm doing? How do I do it? I want to share with you a story. There's this woman, Tara Brach. So if you like podcasts and you like meditation, her name's Tara Brach, B-R-A-C-H. I was listening to this podcast the other day, about a month and a half ago. Tara told this story in the first person. So I'm going to tell it exactly like she did. And the story she told was about started off with a guy named Steven who was a freshman in high school. And it went like this. It was like the second week of school, and the bell had just rung, and I was a freshman, and I was walking down the hall, and there were lockers on both sides of us. And, you know, it's sort of the chaos at the end of the day. I noticed this one boy, I'd never seen him before, and he was like really disheveled. Like he was pulling all of his books out of his locker and like dropping the books, and I had some judgment towards him and some criticism like in my mind internally. And then a couple of the like senior guys walked by and they saw him like standing there like with all of his books, and they slapped the books out of his hands and they kind of laughed at him. And, you know, a couple of senior high school boys walking off laughing. So I don't know why I went over, and he's down on the ground picking up his books now, and he's bent down. So I grabbed one of his books and walked over and handed it to him, and he just looked up and said thank you. But there's something deeper in his eyes. There was something, it was just, I don't know. It was a powerful thank you, right? So anyways, I learned his name was Kyle, and Kyle and I walked home that day together. We actually learned that we lived in the same neighborhood, and that was the beginning of a really good friendship. We wound up walking back and forth to school all throughout high school. And, you know, there were times where I got really jealous of Kyle. He became a really like good looking young man and really came into his own, became a confident man, and, you know, kind of like that person that everybody envies. And, even though he was my best friend, there was a lot of times like I had that jealousy towards him. Eventually he became the captain of the football team, and he was the prom. It was like, he was the captain of the football team. He was the prom king. And eventually he was the valedictorian of our class, He's the number one student. He was going off to Dartmouth to play football, and I was going off to Yale. So anyways, we got to commencement time, graduation day, and the commencement speech, and I could tell he was nervous. We were sitting in the stands, and they were getting ready to call him up. I put my hand on his shoulder, and I just, told him, I was like, "You're going to do great." He looked up at me with that same look, just this. He said, "Thank you," but it was that look again, like that look from our freshman year. It was something deeper. So Kyle goes up there and starts his commencement speech, and he's knocking it out of the park right away. He starts about how this is a time when we thank the people who have helped us, and he talks about his parents. And, the whole time he's relating it to, he's sharing his story, but he's relating it to the rest of us so we can feel like this. So he's not individualizing it. Then he talks about the teachers and how the teachers helped us, and he's going on and on. And then he eventually gets into how we as students help each other. He said, "I've never shared this before, but there was one student who really helped me. Now, I was a freshman. I was clearing all the books out of my locker one day. I had had a rough time at our previous school, and then I moved here. I don't know. I was just fed up with it. I was clearing all the books out of my locker one day, and I was really nervous, like I was dropping them all. I was nervous because I was going to go home and commit suicide that day. And I knew my parents were going to have to go through so much. I didn't want them to have to clear my locker out too." That day, a friend reached out and he helped me. He didn't ask for anything. He didn't need anything. All he did was help me. And Kyle went on and he talked about, and really every single person in that audience left understanding the importance of needing each other, that it doesn't matter how strong any of us are, and also that we don't know what other people are going through. About a month and a half ago, I was listening to that podcast episode, and I'm driving in my car and I'm like bawling, crying, like in hysterics. And it hit me so hard. I think that one of the biggest things that we struggle with Beachbody is we feel icky or invasive or pushy by sharing the products, by sharing the programs, or by sharing the business opportunity. You've seen the stories, you've heard the stories. There's countless, literally it's in the millions now. Millions of lives have been changed by our programs, by our products. Hundreds of thousands of lives have been changed by this business opportunity. And we're too worried about somebody saying no to us that we're not going out there and giving some. All we have to do is get them on the Beachbody, in the Beachbody river or funnel or whatever the hell you want to call it. Get them into Beachbody. That's it. And then our job is to love them. Our job is to be there when it gets hard and they want to quit and they want to give up. Our job's to be a brother or a sister and be back to back for them to know, because you know what? They've failed over and over and over again. They've failed at the diet. They've failed at the workout program. They've failed at so many things in their life. And you know why they don't want to try this? Because they're afraid to fail again. And you have something that you can look somebody in the eye and you can say, if you do this, I guarantee you it's going to work. I can't do it for you, but I can be here to love you and support you throughout it. That's what we're doing. That's how you do it. It is that simple. Have that paradigm shift from it's tough to share this to I don't have the right not to share it. I told you the story of what happened with my life. Had my sponsor never shared this with me, I wouldn't be here today. And hundreds of other coaches, thousands of other coaches, same thing. Just get out of the way. It's not about you. It's about getting the product, getting the program, getting what we have to offer in the hands of someone else. And then loving them. That's it. I had one more story that I wanted to share. I wanted to really talk about the why and dig into it, because I think the why is like personal development. Everyone's like, oh, here we go again. Gotta get deep on my why. The podcast that Shane mentioned. So I have the Business of Life. There's actually two podcasts. I have the Business of Life, but write this down. The Business of Life podcast, if you just search it, episode 2 is an episode called How to Identify and Get What You Really Want Out of Life. And that episode is about, it's an hour-long episode about how to really establish a why. I kind of wanted to touch on it tonight, but it's 9:50 at night, and it's a lot. So check that out whenever you have a chance. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, because we were just talking about podcast episodes. Actually, I won't even get into it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to share on this. And I believe in you. I believe that you can do it. Ball's in your court. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes? All right. I can hang out for a little while, Shane, if you guys want to, or questions or anything.
Thanks, Keith. That was powerful. I have to sigh. You guys?
Can I share something?
Yeah.
So my second summit, you took me to my first, and the next year, over that year from summit to my second summit, which would have been last year's, I got to learn who Keith was. I had no idea who Keith was. I didn't understand the structure. I didn't get this whole, like, how many people were above me whole deal. But I learned about Keith and Bob in between those two summits, so my first year and second year in the business. And I made it my mission when I got to Summit that I was going to stand in front of him and just figure out what I wanted to ask, but ask a question, because he was who, he's who has helped pave the way in our, part of our organization. And so I'll never forget standing in MGM bar where we were celebrating you and Bob reaching millionaire status. And I don't even know what I asked you, but all I remember in our conversation is that you were just like me. You were just like somebody who I would hang out with on a Sunday afternoon watching a football game and just hanging with. And I'm like, why don't I realize that I'm just as good? Why can't I do this too? And so I just want to thank you for being humble, never changing who you, yes, you've changed in yourself and your exploration, but who you are at the core is who you continue to be. And I just appreciate that as you as a leader. And I think that truly has helped me realize that exactly what you talked about tonight, which why not me? Why can't I do it? And it's really just my own thought process. So I just want to thank you for doing that and continuing to get on these calls. And I hope everybody here truly sat, listened, and focused on what you had to say, because this was one of the best team calls I've been on, and I've been on a lot. So thank you.
Jeez, thank you, Tamara.
Thanks, Tam. Anybody just want to share something you want to say?
I will.
Great.
It's Patty. And Keith, I totally stalk you. I stalk your page, your YouTube, any team calls that are up on YouTube anywhere. I watch them all. I'm always on your podcasts. And I heard you speak 2 weeks after I signed on as a coach at Super Saturday or Super Sunday, whatever it was then. And your words just like went through me, ignited me, and they still do that every time I hear you speak. And so I just want to thank you for, really teaching us to surrender and look at it in a different way of paying it forward. So it's incredible what you do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thought we were going to have questions, but it's like stroking my ego. I'm going to tell my wife how awesome I am after.
What's the personal development you suggest to people that cannot get out of their own way?
You want to know the honest answer to that?
I do.
I think that one of the most powerful things is the 12 steps. And not necessarily, like everybody associates that with Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's how it started. But you can buy the book, The 12 Steps, and it is an insanely powerful philosophy on living your life. It's really about surrendering over to a higher power, and they don't call it God. Like literally admitting that for me, it was really that my thought process, like it's admitting that. So for an alcoholic, it's that you have no control over the alcohol. Like you've tried a million times and you can't quit, right? It's weird. Like I used to drink all that, but it wasn't because of the alcohol. Like I had no problem with it. Like when I was ready to stop, like done, what I had a problem with was my emotions. Like I had no control over it. And what the basis of the 12 steps is admitting that you don't have control and literally surrendering to anything. You can surrender it to the beach body, like surrendering over to some type of philosophy, some type of higher power, something other than you, right? So yeah, I think that, and I always shied away from sharing that because I was embarrassed that I used to study that stuff, but man, it is just life-changing stuff.
Thank you.
Anybody else? What struck me was 90% personal development. God, I never thought of it that way. Because when you do all that work, it's just who you are. It's just what you do. You don't think about 2 invites today, 3 invites today. Not to think of it like 90%. Think about what you do now, guys. He's saying 90% of it is becoming a better you. That's the success. That's how you end up in that elite class.
Coolest freaking job ever, right? You get paid to become better.
I've never heard it, and I've never thought about it that way. When you raise where you are, you'll bring in coaches where you are. When you raise, you'll bring in coaches that are on par. And as you get better, your coaches will lead by your example and they'll follow you. Always looking to be better. God, how that's going to change your life. How it's going to change your kid's life. You're going to be raising children, who are going to be aspiring to be more like their mom and dad, who are now doing 90% personal development. And they're going to be such better people for that. All because of a challenge pack we all bought and paying it forward. When you think about it that way, that's insane. That is That is so much bigger than anything. That's so much bigger than what I even thought before I came on this call tonight. Like, to go there in your head, and we don't have the right not to. We don't have the right not to. Who am I to say that person's too busy? Who am I to say they wouldn't like this? No, it's none of that. It's not about us. And I when you say that to yourself, it's almost like you feel guilty, like I have to tell them. And I'll often say that to people is, I have to share this with you. I feel like you need to know about this. You have to look at this. But guys, when you believe that, it becomes so easy. But you have to believe it. You have to believe this opportunity has that potential. And that's where the personal development is going to come in. If you're struggling, you don't have 100% belief in it yet. And that's okay. But you've got to get to that point. That makes more sense when you fully believe it with your heart and soul. That's where the work goes away. That crazy quote, you'll never work a day in your life. I'm like, it is the most accurate thing I have ever heard. But 2.5 years ago, I didn't think that. But I believe it today. And I used to be like, work is work. Not when you have 100% belief. It's different. And you may not be there yet. But you'll see at some point, especially if you incorporate the personal development to that level. So that was really something I never thought of. So thank you, Keith.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be on.
Our pleasure. All right, guys. Well, thank you for taking the time and being here and showing up. And the recording will be posted by the morning in Wild Impact Files. Don't forget about the challenge group dates. I just put them in the chat and I'll post them in the page. But tonight, before you go to bed, I just want you to ask yourself one question. Am I willing to do what it takes? This business can be for you, but it's not for everyone. Am I willing to do what it takes? Just ask yourself that and just sit on it for a little bit. Your kids are asleep, you're by yourself, you're gonna get off this call. Just sit for 30 seconds. Have a moment and just process everything you just heard. Am I willing to do what it takes? I am. Thank you, Keith. And I know a lot of you guys are. I believe in you. I love you guys. You know how much I love this team. Thank you for showing up, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, guys.